twice in one day. And I
know. I was laughing. I'm at the Dibble Screen. I see your Linda sending emails to say, you know, you're doing it. You need to be aware. Right? You're doing walkthroughs.
I couldn't understand. I said, oh my gosh. I even told you that the other day. So we hit 3. And I'm like, of all things, I would have loved it. But if you want any, like to just touch base, well, I'll just. I mean, it was great. I think Maryland is so much fun in your day or what, in your big day. You know, I was he was singing so much. It was so cute. I do.
PBS in the hallway, figured out all the radish. And today, a couple of second graders, they're sticking out just and you know what? It's like an automatic. You can't skip if you're not happy. Don't skip when they're down. So I just thought, you know what? Skip on down the wall.
You know, it's relative because there's it was just good atmosphere. Oh my God, I love it. I told them. Well, daughter's doing the pledge. I'm excited.
No, I'm just saying,
yeah.
You're the girl here. Oh.
Okay.
You're making me nervous.
Okay. Sorry for the delay. Can I have a reading of the meeting's notice, please?
The Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Erie, PA will meet in regular session on Wednesday, December 13th, 2017 in the auditorium at East Middle School, 1001 Atkins Street at 6:00 p.m. by request of the President, Frank Petrunger, Jr.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Mr. Castillo?
Here.
Mr. Fabrizi?
Here.
Mrs. Feeney?
Here.
Mr. Harkins?
Here.
Mrs. McNair?
She's here. She just stepped out of hall for a second.
Yeah.
Mr. Spagel?
Here.
Mr. Titus?
Here.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Here. Mr. Petrunger?
Here. Pledge of Allegiance led by Alana McLeod, 5th grade student from Dill Elementary School, introduced by Mr. Tim Sable, principal, followed by a moment of silence from Martha Schroff, retired teacher, passed away on September 27, 2017. Rosario Stoops, retired secretary, passed away on November 15, 2017. Mike DePanfilo, retired labor foreman, who passed away on November 16, 2017. And Robert Donovan, retired principal, passed away on November 16, 2017. Mr. Sable.
Good evening, members of the board, Mrs. Zaberski, Mr. Polito. I'm very pleased and honored, and first of all, let me say happy holidays to everybody. I'm pleased and honored this evening to introduce to you Elena McLeod. Elena is a 5th grader at Deal Elementary. She's joined tonight by her mom, Christy, and dad, Andre, as well as her brother, Andre, and sister, Krina. Elena has aspirations to be a doctor in the future, and when asked what she likes about school, her reply was, everything. Now, at Deal, we did something a little bit different. So to choose our pledge leader, instead of just randomly taking nominations, what we ask the students to do is write a persuasive essay as to why they should be picked to be the leader for the Pledge of Allegiance for the board meeting. And Elena was our winner, and if you would indulge me, I would love to read her paper. Here are some reasons why I want to be the pledge leader for our school, because I will have an opportunity to represent Deal at the school board meeting. My reasons I want to be the pledge leader are because I'm reliable, very hardworking, and trustworthy. One reason I want to be pledge leader is because I'm reliable. I'm reliable when you want me to do something or be somewhere. I'm also reliable when there is a problem, because I will try to fix the problem. My second reason I want to be pledge leader is because I'm very hardworking. I am hardworking when it comes to schoolwork or homework, because I will complete it. I am also hardworking at home by doing my chores and studying. My last reason I want to be pledge leader is because I am trustworthy. I am trustworthy because if you ask me to do something over the weekend, you can trust me to do it. I'm also trustworthy because if you ask me to hold or keep something, I will do it and not lose it. These are some of the reasons why I want to be pledge leader for our school. I would love it if I said the Pledge of Allegiance at the school board meeting. Elena McLeod.
Excellent.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That was a very reliable and dependable presentation. Very good. Thank you so much.
Good job. Congratulations. Keep working hard.
I'm still left. First, I want to present you with a certificate of appreciation for your leading the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. Second, giving the flag that the board has in front of it for all its meetings. And third, eat well with a full pizza on top of the board. Now you can. Thank you.
Mr. Sable, this is a very good idea with the essay, very good idea.
I'd like to introduce now Rashay Benjamin, student representative of the board for December 2017 and January 2018 from Erie High. Rashay Benjamin, daughter of Sheila Overton and Roosevelt Benjamin, is a senior marketing student at Erie High School. She has attended Erie Public Schools her entire life, beginning with Lincoln Elementary, then Wilson Middle School, Central Tech, and now the new Erie High School. During the consolidation plans, she was an active contributor representing the student voice well during discussions on the merger. Rashay was elected president on student council, plays on both the tennis and basketball teams, and is currently on co-op through her marketing class. During her free time, she volunteers at the Food Bank, MLK Center, and was involved in beauty pageants during her youth. This year, she was nominated for the Homecoming Court. Her favorite subject is history because she loves learning about the past. Her other favorite pastime outside of basketball is spending time with her family. Next year, she will attend college to study sports management and communication. No matter what Rashay sets her mind to, we know she will do great things. She is caring, compassionate, very hardworking, and has the drive of a top-notch athlete. We are blessed to have Roche at Erie High School and thank her for her time serving as the student board representative. Roche, if you'd like to say anything.
Thank you for the opportunity to be on the school board today.
Thank you. As part of our regularly scheduled meetings each month, the board recognizes a community supporter who has made an impact on the students and staff of Erie's public schools. This month, we are recognizing Mr. Dale McBriar, owner of Lindale Enterprises and operator of our local Little Caesars franchises. Mr. McBriar has been an active supporter of the Blue Coat program and worked closely with Daryl, Brother D. Craig for many years. Specifically, Mr. Breyer has donated hundreds of pizzas from Little Caesars restaurants to be used as incentives for students who are working to improve their behavior and grades at the SELF program. Often, Mr. McBriar himself will show up at SELF or at the Blue Coat event with free pizzas to encourage and reward students. Mr. McBriar also made monetary donations to the Blue Coats to encourage their work with our students and served as a community advocate for the program in our entire district. In 2016, Mr. McBriar donated $10,000 to the Partnership for Erie's Public Schools to fund 2 buses of community members who traveled to Harrisburg for our district's rally in the Capitol Rotunda. Mr. McBriar accompanied our group on the bus trip and stood with our teachers and students as they spoke out for fair funding at the important event. In recognition of the support of our schools and our students, the Board of School Directors of the City of Erie would like to present Mr. Dale McBriar with a certificate of appreciation. Mr. McBriar, would you come on up?
Good luck with each other.
Thanks again. Thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Dale. Yeah, pleasure.
Thank you, Dale.
Absolutely.
Dale, good to see you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate
Thank
all
you.
your help.
Okay, good luck.
I'd like to announce the board met with this evening, Wednesday, December 13, 2017, in the Library of East Middle School from 6 p.m. to 6:02 p.m. regarding a legal matter. We'll move on to the report of the superintendent, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. Our community school partners are working with our staff to make sure our elementary students have a great, happy holiday season. Erie Insurance is supporting the students and families of Piper Burley with a holiday meal food drive that is scheduled for December 21st. At Edison, community school partners and volunteers from GE, the Achievement Center, the Boys and Girls Club, and the United Way gathered at GE last night to wrap over 1,000 gifts for the Edison students. We're also excited to collaborate with our community partners on 2 new programs to support our students. The Mothers Against Teens Violence Out-of-School Suspension Program at Booker T. Washington Center started last week. We're hopeful that the students and families will take advantage of this program during suspension periods. We are also collaborating with the Eagles Nest Corporation on their after-school financial literacy program, which is currently servicing Erie students at East Middle School. Local artists Tom Ferraro and Ed Grant are working on an artist-in-residence project with the students at Erie High to make a mural about the immigration experience. The mural will be put on 9th and State Street. Winter sports are off to a great start, and we wish our teams good luck with their first seasons as Royals. I want to again thank Serve Erie, PEPS, our own staff, for all the work that was done on the Erie High School gym. Over the summer, Serve Erie painted the entire gym, PEPS paid for the refinishing of the floor, and just last week, our maintenance staff installed new lightings and additional bleachers. Thanks to all that work, we now have a gym that we can be proud of to host our home games. The district's holiday page will start with student art is up and ready to go and can be viewed at eriesd.org/holiday. I just want to take a minute and thank all the art teachers who sent student work in to be featured on this page and also on our holiday card. Congratulations to Grover Cleveland student Joey Moore. He was featured as the Good Kid of the Month on WJET. Just under 50 middle school students will be traveling to the Lemieux Sports Complex in Cranberry Township tomorrow to participate in a STEM day sponsored by EverFi. Thanks to Mrs. Habursky, who really coordinated that partnership and was able to arrange the field trip for our students. And lastly, the first graduation ceremony of our Recovery and Cyber Academies is going to be held at 7 o'clock on January 26th at East Middle School. Mr. Brockman estimates that we will have 12 students that are graduating at that ceremony. So that's great news. And lastly, this is the final meeting of 2017. I'd just like to wish everybody a happy holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Accept motion by Mr. Cassillo, second by Mr. Spiegel. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing of citizens, persons desiring to speak for 5 minutes must submit the request in writing to the Secretary's office at least 1 week prior to the board meeting. All others may speak for 3 minutes. We have 2 5-minute speakers. The first one would be Mr. McDonald of Erie, speaking to the topic of Erie School District business. Mr. McDonald here? I don't see him. We'll move on to our second speaker, Mr. Howard Bibbs of Erie, speaking to address past decisions and future decisions that may be under consideration by the Erie School District Board of Directors. Mr. Bibbs.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Howard Bibbs. I reside at 2931 Chestnut Street. In my community, the people call me the mayor on Chestnut Street. And in doing that, I present myself to take up different topics that people in the community bring to me because they don't want to come down here for whatever reason. Same with city council, same with county council, for whatever reason. But I'm here today to address some things, and some of the things you may already be doing. So, you know, don't shoot me. I'm just a messenger. But there's some things I think are very important. I did have a list of things, a broader list of things, but I kind of said that it was a little bit too much for 5 minutes. But the first topic, I'm looking at problems. Okay, I'm trying to address problems, all right? And the first problem was child population is decreasing. And the population is decreasing. People are not having children like they used to. In my family, there were 10. People don't have 10 kids anymore. They're having 2, and by chance, maybe 3, okay? And that's because of economical reasons. You know, people don't have jobs, or they're just unemployed, or whatever. You know, they just can't do it. And the second thing is teacher population is not decreasing with child population. And I know there's a formula where there's a ratio of so many teachers with so many students. And people in my area think that might be a problem in terms of the financial situation that the school district has been in. Number 3, I do watch the news, and the superintendent did mention something about curriculum problem. I don't think there's a problem with your curriculum. The problem might be how teachers are presenting the curriculum to people, to the kids. And just to give you an example, being an adult, I went to my doctor yesterday, and the doctor said, well, just a few of you guys was getting away with this. You know, I'm saying, like, what the hell are you talking about? Getting away with what, you know? And it was just how we came in to see the doctor or whatever. But it was just how he said that. And I know children are more touchy than I am. You know, I think I'm a mild-mannered person, but you can push me to a point where I'm not. And I think kids can be pushed to a point where they're not mild-mannered. So in terms of your curriculum, I don't think there's a curriculum problem. I've talked to kids, I've talked to some older children, I shouldn't call them older children, some young adults that have graduated out of school, 21, 22, 25, and some of them may have been in a special math program over Vincent. I talked to one guy, he was in a special math program over Vincent. But at the same time, he was a good math student, but everything else was going downhill. So that might have been a terrific program, but the total program of the whole individual was left undone. And the young man was a little upset about it. You know, he said that the teachers always say that the children are the future, and he said the only thing that I can look forward in the future is to work and pay taxes. I said, well, join the crowd. That's what everybody's doing, you know. But, you know, apparently it wasn't explained to him. So there are that type of problem. Another thing, and this is coming from me directly, I note that on the news, they mentioned that, I believe it was Fairview School District, and their kids came in number 2 as far as the rating in this area. And I have never heard what rating our kids are. We don't ever talk about where our kids stand with other kids throughout the county. We don't talk about it. And I think that is something that needs to be addressed. And that needs to be addressed with... Should I stop? I got some important things here. One thing, the other thing, teachers union is failing. Teachers must be meeting the goals of the curriculum. If the teachers are not meeting the goal of the school curriculum, then the kids are not going to be up to par. So the teachers got to be on the ball too, you know, in terms of how they're coming across to these kids, how they're presenting the curriculum. Our kids today, you don't even understand them. You know, it's hard to understand them, and I'm sure everybody deals with this, but it's just hard to understand our kids today. The board of directors should run for position like they do for city and county council. The board must obtain new ideas. And that came from a group of people. I eat breakfast in different areas. I go all the way out past Glenwood to Shirley's Country Diner, in Liberty Plaza, Skyline Dining up here on 44th Street. I talk to a lot of people. I have spoke to a couple of you over at Liberty Plaza, okay? I didn't know you was running for school district, for the board, but I spoke to you, okay? And something needs to be done there. I think when it comes to voting for the school board directors, I never know who's running until I step into the booth to vote. So what that lends to is with older and we is going to be I don't work because I've been medically discharged from my job since I was 53 years old. I'm a senior citizen now. So that's something that needs to be addressed. I think you should look at that. It's not going to stop.
Mr. Bibbs,
Yes.
I got to ask you to stop for now. You've went well over your 5 minutes.
Can I just say one more thing? One more thing, just one more thing. And this is important. Forced compliance of taxation. Okay? The way that the community was taxed wasn't according to the School Financial Act. It was not according to the Fair Tax Act. And when you look at an individual that somebody is paying $1,000, somebody else is paying $2,000, somebody else is paying $3,000, that's not fair across the board. Because it wasn't in millage. It was just pay your tax again. I hope that never happens again. Because it seems like every time we get a few dollars, we're giving raises versus tending to the curriculum, versus tending to the kids, versus doing the things that we say that we're up there to do. So I just hope that we can correct these things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
3-minute speakers. If there's any, please state your name, print your name and address on the tablet provided on the podium. Do we have anyone who'd like to speak for 3 minutes?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Gary Horton over here. I used to sit over there. It's a little different look sitting over here, but first of all, I'd like to congratulate the new board members and our student member. And I'm here to, as I stated to the superintendent and Mr. Nixon, as the president of our local branch of the NAACP, we would offer our support to the initiative to hire minority teachers. We had a board meeting 3 weeks ago, and we came up with a unanimous resolution in support. However, as I told the superintendent and Mr. Nixon, this is not an original idea, nor is it a new challenge. The issues of equity and inclusion have been a local district problem since the 1960s. What is new is a renewed focus. We have a new superintendent, we have a new point person, we have new board members, we have a new committee, we have new energy. I see it as a new opportunity to build new trust in our community. So the NAACP offers its support and endorsement of this initiative. However, we have identified one weakness in the plan. There's no money. I believe Mr. Nixon and that committee needs a budget. I think they deserve a budget. I think the issue of diversifying your workforce is important enough to put some money to the effort if it is expected to be effective. One piece of the initiative, as Mr. Nixon outlined in the Committee of the Whole, the Frederick Douglass program. I was fortunate enough that my daughter, Asia, was one of the first recipients of a Frederick Douglass scholarship, thanks to Mr. Al and Peggy Richardson, who have donated a fortune to the Community Foundation to support hundreds of kids of color from the Erie school system to go to college. It worked for me. It has worked for Carol and Maurice Troop. It has worked for Pete Collins and Chandra Slocum. It has worked for Jackie and Kevin Harper, that I recall, and I'm sure it will work for others. And in closing, I would like to leave with you copies of our letter of support and some other information that will bolster the need for this plan. One is a Johns Hopkins University article on what just one black teacher means in the life of one black male student. Black teachers make a difference with persistently low-income black boys. With a black teacher in the 3rd to 5th grade, 29% increased interest in college, 39% less chance of dropping out of high school. And the last piece of information is a report from the Annie E. Casey Foundation, a study on equity in education. The NAACP stands ready and willing to support your initiatives to meet this challenge that's been long overdue. And I congratulate the superintendent and Mr. Nixon on their effort. And I'll leave these reports with the secretary. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak for 3 minutes? Not seeing anybody, we'll move on. Reports of committees and liaisons, are there any? Not hearing any. There's no unfinished business. We'll move on to new business.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Harkins?
I move we adopt item 6, which is the new business of the school district.
Go ahead. Motion by Mr. Harkins to accept, or the motion. Second by Mr. Spiegel.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Just for the sake of the new members, this is really the meat of the meeting. This is where the monthly transactions or the items that we put our stamp of approval on and make them become real happens at this point. We've gotten away from where we used to be able to separate something that a majority of the board wouldn't agree to want to approve tonight. We've had these in advance, and with the electronic approach we've taken, we've had this stuff in advance and have had opportunities to digest it, but there's still would be a time in the meeting now where if there was something in here you wanted to comment on or make a remark about or question without trying to nullify it, this would be the time to do it. So just, I mean that as a helpful suggestion to the new members who might not have known when to speak out on something like these things.
Thank you, Mr. Harkins. Is there any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I did speak to Ms. Sumagala before the meeting because I had a question about one of the coaching athletic appointments.
Okay.
I noticed that we had 3 assistant basketball coaches, but only 2 for the men, but only 2 for the females. And, you know, because I'm a former basketball coach myself and Title IX was very important to me, I wanted to make sure that we were doing the right thing by having more for the boys than for the girls. So she was going to check into that and talk to John Bowen and see if there was any possibility that in the future there might be a need for a freshman girls basketball team as well. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention.
Thank you. We have nothing else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Casello?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mrs. McNair? Mr. Spiegel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich?
Yes.
Mr. Petrungo?
Yes. Approval of the meeting minutes on November 15, 2017.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Casillo. Yeah, I heard that. Second by, I'm just giving him some time to get it. Second by Ms. Alexandrowitz. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Bills and payroll.
I move we approve them for payment as presented.
Mr. Harkins with the motion. Mr. Spiegel with the second. Any discussion? If If not, roll call, please.
Mr. Castillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mr. Spagel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. Report of the secretary.
Move we approve it.
We have a motion to approve by Mr. Harkins. Second by Mr. Spagel. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Castillo?
Yes.
Mr. Fabrizi?
Yes.
Mrs. Feeney?
Yes.
Mr. Harkins?
Yes.
Mr. Spagel?
Yes.
Mr. Titus?
Yes.
Mrs. Alexandrovich? Mr. Petrunger?
Yes. We have no awards on bids. Any other matter? Anybody have anything?
Mr. President?
Yes.
Thank you. Just wanted to say we have a very happy Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, and a very Merry Christmas to everyone in our area, and especially our students. And, of course, to our esteemed board and committee as well, and our assistant superintendent. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Yes, Mr. Fabrizi.
I just want to mention a couple of things. One thing is, earlier we were discussing, or when we had our moment of silence, one of the people mentioned was Mike DePamphlo, and he was, well, the best boss I ever had. So I just wanted to make sure that I mentioned that he gave a lot to the school district in a capacity that usually goes unnoticed.
That was back in our time when we had some good stories with him.
Yes, sir, yes, we do. And the only other thing is just like Mr. Castillo said, it's the last meeting of the year, and it's been one heck of a year. So I'm looking forward to the what's coming in the future, and Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Thank you. Mr. Spagel.
Yes, just a quick question. I know we received an email about the temperature at Erie High School. Has that been addressed? Is it cold? I don't know. Is it too warm, too cold? I just feel like, when I was in the last, it wasn't an issue. Is it an issue, and if so, are we addressing it?
We have some significant issues up there with the heating and cooling, just because of the age of the building and how it's been more or less cannibalized over the years. I know that right now, Eric is working really hard we have 2 boilers down, so he's working really hard to get those back up and running so that it will help levelize things in the building. But a long-term solution has to be part of our whatever renovation project we have up there. Until we can get behind the walls and really address, the core issues there, we're not going to be able to have a stable temperature throughout the building.
And one of those issues is that chiller we have up there needs to be redone, which is like, I don't remember what they said it cost or whatever. Kind of expensive, so. Yeah, I mean, they are addressing it, I believe. They're trying to do whatever they can.
As usual, we're trying to patch it and keep it running, but again, I think that's why when we were looking at renovation projects, the Erie High is #1 on the priority list so that we can start to address that long term.
Again, going forward with a strategic plan, infrastructure costs, this is also an issue.
Yes.
Yes.
Just kind of related to what Mr. Spagel was saying, I have been approached by a few parents. What time do the schools open and for the kids to come in? I know school starts at a certain time, but what time do the doors actually open for the students to come in?
For elementary or secondary?
Secondary.
Secondary is, they open the doors at 7:45, I believe, is when the...
And then for educational purposes, what time does the elementary doors open?
They open, it depends on the before school care. We do have a before school care program that starts at 7:45 and runs to 8:45, and then the doors open for regular session at 8:45 with school starting around 9:20.
Okay. There has been some concern that the buses were dropping off and the doors weren't quite opened yet, and with the temperatures dropping, so I just wanted to bring it up. Thank you.
Thank you. No one has anything else? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Cassillo, second by Mr. Spiegel. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Meeting's adjourned.
It was nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you
Look
too.
forward to seeing you next month again.
Yep.
Good.
I really appreciate it. I think what happened is, I thought we had it working too, and then I got home and all of a sudden I noticed I was getting more emails. And then I received a picture, said I wanted to put it on my desktop, my computer, to use it. And it wouldn't let me send it, so that's when I knew I had a problem.
It comes to a point where this becomes.
Yeah, man, I was nervous talking.
You know, I mean, I'm